For too long, the conversation around making America great again has revolved around nostalgic slogans rather than genuine solutions. Today's global realities demand that we ask a different question. How do we make America truly competitive again? In the face of fierce international competition, rapid technological change, and growing inequality, it's time to examine how our nation allocates political power, and whether that distribution helps or hinders our future. Recent California wildfires brought to light a striking irony. Some politicians from net recipient or taker states insisted that California's disaster aid come with strict conditions, despite the fact their own states rely heavily on federal funds. Meanwhile, California, one of the world's largest economies and a net contributor of tens of billions more to federal coffers than it receives, faces hurdles to rebuild. This imbalance isn't just unfair, it undercuts America's ability to compete globally. States like California, Washington, and Massachusetts drive innovation in technology, clean energy, and biotech, fields critical to the nation's economic future. Kentucky, Mississippi, West Virginia, Alabama, and other states often top the charts for per capita federal funding received versus taxes paid. By contrast, states like California, New York, and New Jersey consistently pay more into the system, effectively subsidizing the entire union. When states that don't pay their own way gain outsized political leverage through Senate representation and the Electoral College, it distorts national priorities. This means resources that could be propelling America into the future are instead locked in a cycle of supporting areas unwilling or unable to invest in modern education, infrastructure, and industry. How did we get here? Many of our structural imbalances date to an era when the United States was predominantly agrarian, and power was concentrated among those who benefited from slavery, discrimination, and Jim Crow. Smaller rural states, often with entrenched social and economic hierarchies, were granted equal or disproportionate representation, ensuring they could maintain influence despite contributing less to the national economy. Today, these vestiges allow underperforming states to block innovative policies or stifle efforts to modernize our infrastructure, technology, and workforce. A nation's competitiveness hinges on its ability to adapt to change. Artificial intelligence, robotics, and green energy are rapidly reshaping global markets. States with world-class universities, robust tech hubs, and progressive policies are seizing opportunities that fuel the entire American economy. Yet they must navigate a federal system that often rewards states clinging to outdated models, underfunded schools, limited economic diversity, and political structures resistant to reform. This mismatch isn't simply a domestic squabble, it's a drag on our international standing. To correct course, we need changes in representation and federal policy. Reform the Electoral College. Push toward a system reflecting one person, one vote, reducing the disproportionate clout of smaller, less competitive states. Reevaluate the Senate's role. Acknowledge the distorting effect of giving 2 senators to each state, regardless of population or economic vitality. While eliminating this structure is a tall order, we can seek ways to mitigate its impact. Reward education and innovation. Federal funding should flow to states making strides in STEM education, renewable energy, and high-tech manufacturing, sectors that generate high-paying jobs and future-proof the economy. Hold net-taker states accountable. Chronic dependency on federal funds points to deeper governance and policy failures, insufficient investment in education, healthcare, and infrastructure. If states persistently underperform, aid must be tied to real reforms that foster self-sufficiency. We cannot ignore the historical injustices, slavery, segregation, and structural discrimination that have shaped our current map of prosperity and struggle. Instead, we must design policies that correct rather than entrench these inequities. This includes ensuring equal access to quality education, healthcare, and economic opportunities for all regions, regardless of race or historical disadvantage. America's competitive edge has always come from innovation, diversity, and ambition. But the 21st century demands a new brand of unity, one that refuses to allow outdated structures to hold back the very states pushing us forward. By modernizing our institutions, rewarding states that invest in the future, and creating pathways for struggling states to rebuild and innovate, we stand a better chance of maintaining our leadership on the world stage. This isn't about punishing any region, but about recognizing that our federal system must evolve if we're to meet the challenges of a rapidly changing globe. The time for nostalgia is over. To truly make America competitive again, we must align political power with education, innovation, and economic vitality, creating a stronger, fairer, and more dynamic union where our best days lie ahead.